There's a sentence I thought I had trouble saying it because I thought I could never say it, right? 4 million more people watching the women's final than the men's in the NCAA basketball.
The silence is over. Christine Brennan, the WNBA reporter, has dropped a bombshell about the WNBA. And trust me, once you hear what she said, you'll never look at the WNBA the same way again. In a recent viral interview, Christine totally went off on the WNBA and everything related. And most of all, on the absolute betrayal of Caitlin Clark. But before I spill all the tea, comment, woke up the league, if Christine just shook the entire WNBA to its core. So Christine didn't shy away and gave a bold disclaimer right before diving into the storm.
I think we should be, the WNBA needs to understand that scrutiny is going to come from all different places, including people you might not love. I'm in that category now.
For weeks now, fans have been wondering, why is Caitlin Clark, the most electric rookie the WNBA has ever seen, being treated like public enemy number one? Why are elbows flying and no one stepping in to stop? Why is the league marketing her face on every billboard while letting her get dragged, hit, and humiliated on the court? And now, finally, someone with a voice big enough to break through the noise is speaking out. So when she went on hot mic and started speaking the harsh truth, the entire internet held its breath. Who is Christine Brennan, and why this matters? For those who don't know who Christine is, let me tell you. She isn't just another sports reporter with a mic. She has been in this game for decades.
The fascination, because I've covered a lot over my career and been very fortunate to be at Wimbledon's and Super Bowls and Tiger Woods and you name it, I've covered it.
So, when she says,
Caitlin Clark is way more important to the WNBA than Tiger Woods was to men's golf, even though he was huge.
Caitlin Clark is bigger than Tiger Woods was for men's golf, you listen. Because clearly, this isn't just empty hype. It is someone who's watched history, telling you, this is it. And guess what? Now she's turning that same sharp eye on the WNBA and calling them out for letting jealousy, division, and media fear ruin what could have been a golden moment for women's basketball. She's asking the same question every fan has been shouting for months.
How could you not be prepared for this moment? You've seen it happening in the Big Ten. You've seen it at Iowa. You see these TV ratings.
Everyone saw it coming. Iowa games were packed, the Big Ten was booming, TV ratings were through the roof. Caitlin was already a star before she even got drafted, but now she is in the pros, taking elbows, body checks, and cheap shots in every single game. Meanwhile, the WNBA is taking zero accountability. So, Christine stepped up and called a spade, and on such a platform, knowing millions of people watching her, she called it a complete failure at the top. And speaking of Caitlin, let's talk about what's really happening here. Caitlin Clark's supremacy.
They couldn't figure it out. Well, we don't want to put too much Caitlin Clark on. Nope, every game. More Caitlin Clark all the time, always. Caitlin Clark is easily the most influential athlete in a team sport.
Christine Brennan, in her interview, flat out said,
Caitlin Clark is way more important to the WNBA than Tiger Woods was to men's golf, even though he was huge.
Then she goes on, describing how it was to meet Caitlin for the very first time.
So I met Caitlin Clark, got a chance to say hi to her. We chatted for a few minutes, just off the record, just a nice hello kind of thing. Obviously found her to be exactly what you'd hope. So appreciative, so kind, thankful, reads things, is aware of the world, wonderful.
She emphasizes that Caitlin has been nothing but talented, appreciative, and kind.
As I had done over the previous few months, I've covered a lot of women's basketball, but I wasn't at those women's Final Fours. I was gearing up for the Masters. I cover golf as well. And so, I was watching from home like everybody else. And I think, guys, that actually helped.
And that is not all, because now she is changing the way people talk about women's sports on every platform, in every barbershop, in every kitchen.
When we first played her, I just think she's had a lot of pressure on her shoulders, and I think a lot of people, no one's walked in her footsteps, and so it's really easy to judge and to say things, but at the end of the day, we all need to empower each other and be there for each other. I think
it is a once-in-a-generation ripple effect, and here's the wildest part of all. There's no one else even close to her. Do you even remember the last time a women's team shook the nation? Well, you'd have to rewind all the way to 1999.
And of course, it's the 1999 Women's World Cup team with Brandi Chastain on the covers, whipping off her shirt and, doing her celebration. So that was it. But that team went away for 14 months. They appeared again at the 2000 Olympic Games in Australia. I covered them there. I know that. So kind of just this big void.
She is absolutely right here. Most of us remember that U.S. women's soccer team. Mia Hamm, Brandi Chastain, 90,000 fans in the Rose Bowl. They were everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean on the covers of Time, Newsweek, Sports Illustrated, even People magazine. But even that moment faded after a year. However, that is not the case with Caitlin. Because with Caitlin, the fame and praise is only getting bigger every passing day. And that's just an opinion. Christine came on with facts and real figures. Watch.
Caitlin Clark, from the time she, had those incredible performances at the Final Four, and of course, 4 million more people watching the women's final than the men's the next night.
Let that sink in for a second, because that's never happened. At least, not in the history of college basketball.
There's a sentence I thought I had trouble saying it because I thought I could never say it, right? 4 million more people watching the women's final than the men's in the NCAA basketball.
But here's where things take a turn. Despite Caitlin's impact, despite everything she's done to elevate the game, the WNBA feels like it's cracking under the pressure. The games are tense, the players look divided, and the fans are just stuck between debates and drama.
The other players in the league can't stand Caitlin Clark.
Now, one thing about Christine Brennan is doesn't sugarcoat anything. So she actually named names in her book.
And I look at the way players like Diana Taurasi, Breanna Stewart, Cheryl Swoops with her flurry of falsehoods.
Diana Taurasi, Breanna Stewart, Cheryl Reeve, even Cheryl Swoops, who, according to Christine, made up a bunch of stuff that just wasn't true. And here's the wild part. Instead of lifting Caitlin up for bringing millions of new fans to women's basketball, some people tried to push her down. Why? Is it jealousy? At least that is not what Christine thinks. She says,
a white woman from Iowa in a 74% black league.
Caitlin Clark is a white woman from Iowa, entering a league that is 74% black. That is an issue. Yeah, no one really says that out loud. But Christine did. By the time Caitlin joined the WNBA, she'd already sold out arenas, boosted ratings, and brought a whole new crowd to the sport. But unfortunately, instead of being celebrated, the players and the WNBA itself gave her quite a tough time. And right in the middle of all the tension and controversy, one name kept popping up: Angel Reese. And from there, the story only gets juicier. The rivalry that may not exist. Let's rewind to the moment that lit them. It was LSU versus Iowa, 2023 NCAA Championship. Angel Reese stalks Caitlin, flashes the ring gesture, and social media detonates. It was no longer a basketball game. It was a cultural divide playing out in real time. And just like that, whether they liked it or not, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese became a headline. The interview host perfectly described the common belief most Americans have.
Caitlin Clark is the hero, and anyone that comes to Caitlin Clark's defense is a hero. And everyone that flagrantly fouls her, speaks poorly of her, acts like she's not great is the villain, and then vice versa.
But you know what Christine Brennan sees from the front row? I am sure you must not have expected this.
And so they're different. And Caitlin has talked about that they're just different players. But the respect is there. Caitlin wanted to get that assist to Angel.
Christine revealed there is no real beef, at least not yet. They don't guard each other. They don't even play the same position. They've both said they don't hate each other.
They don't guard each other. They're different positions. So we've kind of thrown them together because of that moment that you were showing, and that's fine. That's, of course, that's what happens in sports.
So why are we still pushing this rivalry like it's personal? Well, it's simple. Because controversy sells. Because clicks matter. Because in a sport that has long been begging for attention, two outspoken women on opposite ends of the spotlight is the perfect formula for media attention. And yet, While Caitlyn is often painted as the golden girl, Angel's emotions are dissected like they're weapons. The same trash talk that gets one praised gets the other vilified. But this isn't the wildest thing Christine revealed in her interview. An attempt to ban a journalist at a moment when the world was finally watching, when the spotlight was on and the ratings were climbing. The league had the chance to own the Caitlin Clark phenomenon and elevate every player alongside her. But instead it got defensive. And when Brennan started asking about serious incidents, like DJ Carrington swatting Caitlyn in the face during a playoff game,
People accusing Dejanay Carrington, I think people remember about, she swatted at Caitlin Clark and hit her. Her fingers ended up in Caitlin Clark's, hitting her in the eye.
the league tried to shut her out. They even tried to ban her from the finals.
In a chapter called Controversy about the Players Association attempt to ban me.
Yes, you heard that right. One of the most respected sports journalists in the country was nearly barred from doing her job because she asked the same questions millions of fans were posting online. What does that tell about the WNBA? A league at a crossroads. The WNBA isn't just facing a superstar explosion. It's facing a reality check. See, you can't demand mainstream attention and then collapse when it finally arrives. You can't champion equality and then ignore the racial double standards playing out on national television. You can't say you support your players and then try to silence journalists who are asking the questions your fans are already screaming about online. So, is this about basketball? Of course. But it's also about image, race, media control, and the uncomfortable truths no one wants to put on record. And in the middle of all that, Caitlin Clark suffers.
They're not damsels right? They're not damsels in distress.
Yes.
They are tough, strong, fabulous athletes created by this nation with Title IX. They're great role models.
So the real question is, how long can a league claim to want growth while punishing the very person driving it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because it matters. Not just for Caitlin, but for every single girl watching this play out, wondering if her hard work will be met with the same resistance. And if you want more honest takes on what's really going down behind the scenes, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel.